My parents didn't even try to hide it. They stood in the doorway with my suitcase already packed, acting like they were doing something noble instead of cruel. My sister stood behind them with that same entitled expression she'd worn her entire life. "She can't stay here anymore. It stresses me out," she said, like my existence was an inconvenience she shouldn't have to endure. If you're still here, you already know this story is only getting deeper, and the next twist will hit hard. Please subscribe our channel, please. And my parents nodded, not hesitantly, not regretfully, confidently, as if her comfort mattered more than my place in the family. They told me they needed peace in the house. Translation: my sister didn't want to share attention, space, or oxygen with me, and they always bent to her wishes. She was the golden child. Every mistake forgiven, every tantrum excused, every demand met without question. When I asked where I was supposed to go, they said I'd figure it out, the same way I had always figured everything out alone. No one offered help. No one asked if I had enough money. No one cared enough to even look me in the eye. I left that night with a small bag, a tired heart, and a promise to myself. I would never let them decide my worth again. The years that followed were messy, painful, and unbelievably hard. I bounced between cheap rentals and part-time jobs, building my life from absolute zero. But every struggle sharpened me. Every setback turned into fuel. I learned skills, opened doors no one expected me to touch, and built a stability and confidence I had never known inside that house. 6 years passed. I never heard a word from them, until the day everything flipped upside down. Because life has a strange way of circling back, especially when the people who threw you away suddenly realize they lost something valuable. And when we met again after all that time, my sister wasn't the one in control anymore. I was. 6 years is a long time to disappear from a family that never really saw you in the first place. They didn't call. They didn't text. They didn't ask if I was alive, sick, hungry, or stable. And I stopped expecting them to. I built a different life. Slow, imperfect, but mine. I found work in a tiny design studio that barely had functioning air conditioning and always smelled like coffee that had burned hours ago. But the owner took a chance on me, and that chance turned into real skill. I learned everything: branding, UI design, product flows, pitching to clients. I worked nights, took online courses, and slowly climbed from intern to junior, from junior to lead. By year 4, I wasn't surviving anymore. I was thriving. A tech company noticed my work online and hired me for a remote position that paid more than anything I'd ever imagined making. And unlike my family, they valued me. They asked for my opinion. They trusted my decisions. Suddenly, I wasn't the unwanted child or the burden. I was someone with expertise, stability, and direction. I moved into a clean, sunlit apartment, bought furniture that wasn't secondhand or broken, paid off every debt I collected while rebuilding my life. My world felt peaceful, quiet in a way I had never known growing up. And then, exactly when life was settling into something warm and steady, a message came. From my mother. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't even an attempt to reconnect. It was a photo. My sister, sitting in a hospital waiting room with a tear-streaked face. Under it, my mother wrote, "She needs help. Please call." For a moment, I thought I'd misread it. Help. From me? The same people who never asked if I had a place to sleep now wanted something? Against my better judgment, I called. My mother answered instantly, breathless with relief, as if she had been waiting for me to save the day. She explained everything in a rush. My sister's life had spiraled. The engagement she flaunted had collapsed after her fiancé discovered she had been lying about debts. She had lost her job because she couldn't keep her anger under control. She moved back home and had been draining my parents financially, emotionally, and mentally. Now she was facing legal trouble after an altercation at her workplace. They needed me to guide her, to help her get back on track, to be supportive. I almost laughed. These were the same people who kicked me out with a bag and a shrug. I asked my mother why she thought I owed them anything. Her answer was the same line she had used forever. We're family. Family, yet only when they wanted something. Family, yet only when I became useful. I told her I'd think about it, but what I needed was clarity. Closure, maybe, or just the truth. So I agreed to meet them in person. When I arrived at their house, everything looked smaller. The living room where they once cornered me with criticism felt cramped, almost suffocating. My sister sat curled on the sofa, arms crossed, eyes swollen, but still carrying the same sharpness as before. She didn't greet me. She didn't apologize. She acted like I was late to a meeting I owed her. My father broke the tension first. He cleared his throat and said, "We didn't know things would turn out like this. She needs you." I looked at my sister. She didn't lift her head, and something shifted inside me. For years, I used to imagine this moment where they finally needed me, where I'd walk in transformed, successful, unshakable. But standing there, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt detached, like I was observing strangers. My sister finally looked up and said, "Can you just tell them you'll help? It'll take pressure off me." There it was. Not remorse. Not accountability. Just expectation. The same expectation that had defined my childhood, that I existed to make her life easier. I took a breath and spoke calmly, without anger, but without softness. "I'm not here to fix what you all chose to break." My mother blinked, stunned. My father tried to interrupt, but I held up a hand. "You kicked me out so she could feel comfortable. You didn't check on me once. You didn't care if I was safe. And now that things are hard for her, you want me to step in? I rebuilt everything alone. You never asked how." My sister scoffed. "So what? You're better than us now." "No," I said. "I'm just done being the disposable one." My father's jaw tightened. My mother's eyes filled with tears. My sister muttered something under her breath. None of it mattered, because for the first time in my life, I didn't shrink. I didn't beg. I didn't try to be liked. I stood up. I told them I wished them well. And I walked out of that door, this time by choice, not exile. But what happened next, just 2 weeks later, would prove that leaving wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of something they never saw coming. 2 weeks after I walked out, life returned to its quiet rhythm. Work, gym, late dinners, peaceful evenings. Then an email arrived from the same tech company where I worked. They were expanding and wanted someone to lead a new design branch. The role came with a salary that didn't just change lifestyles, it changed futures. I accepted without hesitation. The announcement went public on LinkedIn, and within hours my mother texted, then my father, then, predictably, my sister. My sister wrote first. "So, you're some big manager now? Can we talk? I think we started off wrong." My mother followed with a longer message about family unity. My father added a casual invitation to dinner, so we can reconnect. None of them mentioned the years of silence. None mentioned kicking me out. None offered accountability, just access. Access to my success, my stability, my new life. I thought about replying for maybe 30 seconds. Then I blocked all three. Not out of spite, but peace. Peace I built. Peace I earned. Peace they had no right to disturb. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need an apology. Walking away and staying away was enough. Some families teach you love. Some teach you resilience. Mine taught me who I never want to become.